This episode of the ResortLoop.com podcast is brought to you by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's is proud to be the official specialty coffee of Disney. Enjoy drinks and pastries at Joffrey's kiosks throughout the parks and check out the Disney Specialty Coffee Collection only at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently holding for further traffic clearance. Once the monorail in front of us moves a safe distance away, we will resume our forward motion.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. This is episode 207 of ResortLoop.com. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
And Bob, I'm very excited about this show today.
So am I. That's I don't have anything from this day in Disney history because I just want to jump into the crux of this show because there's these two folks are they're amazing.
It is. It's international. It's International Day. It's like Epcot.
It is International Day. We're going to have a little trouble probably communicating because we're talking today with David and Theresa Doherty of let me see if I can name this where they're at. They're in Brunsum, Zuid-Limburg, which is in the Netherlands.
That's correct. You've got it right.
Wow, Dutch sounds just like American.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have some issues here today.
Exactly. The Netherlandites we're speaking with.
That is awesome. So, David and Theresa, you guys sent me an email. Said you started listening to the show when you were on holiday in France, which we appreciate that. But you said you're dual income couple with no kids. You're the type of folks who spend 35 nights on Walt Disney property via your DVC between the end of June and the beginning of August.
Wow.
And you got to retire. Oh, and a cat. And you've got to. No, that's all right. No.
We were trying to keep her quiet, but that's hard. The cat. Sorry.
No, cats do what cats do.
I'll move her to the other room.
It's fine.
No, that's all right. We just don't want Tim's cat to hear.
Oh.
Because, Tim's cat doesn't like him.
That's true.
Yeah.
She looks at me for a way to scratch her eyes out or go for my jugular. I can tell by the way she looks at me.
Oh my God! Are you talking about me now, Tim, or who you?
Most people, actually, people and animals.
But you guys have a very unique retirement. Go ahead and explain that to us.
And it didn't start out as a retirement plan. It's just started out as most people do, going to Walt Disney World. We were lucky to get a couple of nights on property because that's all we could afford about 12 years ago. But we had the fortune or misfortune of meeting some people who were staying on property for a month. And they were telling us how they did it. It was actually a collection of friends and families and relatives, and they all rented one unit, and they came and went as they could during the summer. And they had these schedules worked out and all these fantastic things, and we just caught the bug. We wanted to find out how to do that. How can you do something like this? And that's when we started researching DVC, and actually that's Theresa's doing.
Yes.
And when they advertised back about 12 years ago, they had a big advertisement saying prepay your vacations for 30% of the rack rate. And we did the numbers. We cranked the numbers out, and that's exactly what we came up with. And so we went for it. We really couldn't afford it at the time, but it turned out paying over time, it wasn't that much for us. It was about the same as a used car payment.
Oh, wow.
And so I had been driving a Toyota since 1983, and Theresa had been driving had a car that was 1990.
It was a Chevy Metro.
Yeah.
3-cylinder.
And so rather than and there were no new cars in our past, and there will be no new cars in our future. Instead of that, we have chosen to use Walt Disney World vacations as our way of spending our money, spending our excess money instead of new cars. And from that, we started collecting. The first amount we got let us stay on property for 2 weeks. That quickly became not enough. And then we added some more. Actually, within a year, we added some more. And then Disney, the DVC properties, changed the way they did business. It used to be that you could stay for 5 days during the week, almost for the same number of points it would cost to stay for the 2 nights on the weekend. And then they changed it, and that change actually benefited us in the long run, I think. But what we did is we used to leave property on the weekends and then come to Disney World during the week. But we were moving a lot. And when Disney balanced it out a little bit more, it gave us the incentive to just stay on property. And then we wanted more. And so we actually ended up buying 4 times over about an 8-year period. We bought 4 times and paid it off as quick as we could, and accumulated enough to stay during magic season during the summer, 33 to 35 nights. And as we approached where we could retire or think about retirement, we realized that those nights spread out over the less expensive seasons during the year could be stretched out even farther, closer to 40 nights. And then discovered that you can show up at a Walt Disney World resort, a DVC resort, as early in the morning as you want to, and stay as late the next night that you want to for 1 night stay. So you can actually get 2 days for 1 night. And taking that into advantage, we worked it out. So we're going to take our weekends in the middle of the week, spend 1 night at Walt Disney World, 2 full days, and we can do this 3 out of 4 weeks for all year long.
So then how many points do you guys actually have?
We have 510 points.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
But see, most people when they're buying DVC points, they reach that. What's the average, Tim? Would you say about 150 or so?
Yeah, I was gonna say 120. So probably 150, 160, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and then they stop. But you guys didn't stop. You just kept collecting, and as you would pay them off, you would get more. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's as well.
We didn't always pay the first one off. Sometimes, we couldn't wait for that, and we sort of paid off close to it, and then we would put on another one.
Wow.
When you first started getting points, how much were they per point?
When we first purchased at Wilderness Lodge, it was $85 a point. And the next purchase we made was Saratoga Springs, which was $75 a point. And then we bought into Bay Lake Towers at $100. Now, Disney, of course, their rates have skyrocketed in the last few years. But if you go to resale, you can actually get about those same prices still today.
So how many have you purchased resale then?
I'm sorry, again?
How many points have you purchased resale?
We have not done the resale route, though. Because once the points went up to like 140, 145 or so, I just can't see going directly through Disney anymore. I think if we purchased again, though I don't see the need, but if we purchased it again, I think we'd have to go resale.
Yeah, a lot of people are going resale now, we're hearing.
Yeah. Now, what that breaks down to is what we figured out. DVC points can be rented right now for $12 a point. And if you take all our costs, including mortgages we had and the maintenance and management fees for the life of the points, it works out to be just a little over $8 a point for us. Wow. So, for example, during the summer, if we wanted to stay at Saratoga Springs in a studio, it would cost us equivalent of about $125 when the rack rates can be anywhere from $275 to $375.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Well, I think there is a disadvantage to resale, if I have it right. I don't believe that if you buy it resale, that you could apply it toward Adventures by Disney or the cruise. I don't think so, if I have that right.
Yeah, you can't trade it. Yeah,
I think you're correct about that. Yeah.
But you don't want to spend the money for DVC and then use them that way. I mean, there's better ways to do that. So.
That's true.
So when is your? Well, I mean, let's start from the beginning. What made you guys decide this? I mean, you had that experience where some friends of yours, were spending some time longer than you were able to spend at Walt Disney World. But what kind of spurred your love for Disney properties, Disney parks?
Wow. I had not been to Disney until after David and I had met and got married, and that I was 39, and I had never been to Disney. And so to me, I didn't know what I was missing. And then he had told me about when he was at Disney World for a short period, and I said, and I couldn't believe it. I said, "Well, this place is so big. You take buses around. What are you talking about?" And I really wanted to see this then. So I said, "Well, when can we do this?" And we went, believe it or not, right after 9/11.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks after 9/11, and everybody, of course, then were canceling their flights and their reservations. And David's brother lives close to Orlando by Tampa. So we stayed a couple days with him, and then we said, hey, can we just, get in the car and go to Disney? And they were offering very good deals. We stayed at a room, I believe, was it Port Orleans?
In Riverside.
In Riverside for $50.
Wow.
Because there was nobody there. It was a ghost town.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Even I knew from not being there before that that was unusual. We were going into the park, there were no lines. The cast members were coming out asking people, please come to our ride, and this is how you get in. And I found that, very impressive. I really got a look at the place with absolutely no crowds. And so it was really something. The next time that we went back, we were staying at a hotel that was outside of Disney property for cost reasons, and I liked the idea then of staying on property, and so I kept passing these kiosks where they were selling the DVC, but it's a very soft sell.
Right.
So I passed and I said, I wonder what that is. How do people get to stay here? And we would overhear people talking about it, that they'd go back to the room with big families, they have points, and thought, how is this happening? So finally I stopped. And they set up an appointment that we would speak with Doug Rapp at at that time the vacation office was at Boardwalk. Saratoga wasn't there yet. So we went in, and it's a very private sale, and I appreciate that. I had been to other timeshares where you're in a big room and it's not a pleasing experience, but he was very nice. Went through the whole explanation, extremely soft sell, and he said, you shouldn't really make your decision right away. You should go away and think about it. And I thought, well, no, I don't want to go away. I want to buy it. And it was something to think about. I mean, we didn't have a lot of disposable income at that time, monthly, so we had to think, but not too much.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that if my brother hadn't lived nearby, we would have never made the trips. And it's not that we didn't love Disney or love the idea of Disney. It's just we couldn't justify the expense in our own minds just for that. But putting the two of them together, we were to convince ourselves. And when you have a timeshare, when you have DVC points, it compels you to take the vacation you want to take anyway. It gives you because you paid for it, you better use it or you're going to lose it. And that kind of thing helped us in a high stress job where we're rushing all the time and deadlines all the time. We really needed to take some time off for ourselves, and we weren't doing that. And DVC drew us in and drew us in and drew us in. until it became a major part of our life. Until we're spending about 10% of our life at Walt Disney World, albeit that it's all in one chunk during the summer, but we're spending about 10% of our life at Walt Disney World. And in retirement, that might go up to 20%.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's you guys are living a dream that most of us would love to. I mean, that's Tim. I believe that's over 2 fortnights that they're staying.
You
right
are
now.
correct. Your math is correct.
2.5 fortnights. Yeah. So that is awesome. Where do you have any other plans for any other DVCs? The Vero Beach or Hilton Head or Disneyland?
All of those we would like to visit sometime, but in purchasing, no. But in visiting, we did spend one night at Vero Beach when we were traveling up the coast a couple of years ago, and it was a nice resort. But we, again, like our stays at the World. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you'll find, I guess, strange as well. Come this 4th of July or come this July, it will have been 2 years since we've been inside the Disney parks themselves. We spend all our time, 10 weeks in the last 2 years, all in resorts outside the parks.
Oh, well, I can see that, though. Mm-hmm. I really can.
Yeah, we've never been bored. You were talking about that in one of your shows recently about empty nesters, and that's exactly it. We've never been bored. We've never run out of things to do, and we have a good time.
Right. That's awesome. That is fantastic. That so you guys don't even worry about park tickets or any of that. You just go and enjoy the resort itself and the surrounding area of it.
Yeah.
Well, when we have gone into the parks, though, we would get the annual pass with the DVC discount, and I would assume that when we're in Florida, there's the local discount for Florida
residents discount. Yeah.
And I think there is also the Epcot after 4. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it used to exist, and I'm hoping it still will when we are eligible to use it. But they have Epcot after 4 for, it's not very much, $100, $150, $200, something like that, where any day, year-round, you can go into Epcot after 4 p.m. and enjoy the park.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's one of those things for Florida residents that they absolutely take advantage of. That's for sure. Yeah. That's very cool.
But we have to admit, we've become masters at cutting corners and saving money to make things stretch out. We always stay in studios. We're afraid to stay in a 1-bedroom. We might like it.
That's true. That's like
staying in studios. You can stretch your points out double instead of a 1-bedroom. We typically eat appetizers for dinner when we go out. We don't go out every night, but we'll have appetizers at the bar rather than go into the restaurant and have entrees. And for a fraction of the cost, we're actually what we feel the appetizers are usually higher quality or better tasting than you would discover with the entrees. I think the entrees, they mild down a little bit for family taste, and the appetizers can be a little more daring. And so we've learned little things like that to help us stretch out these times.
Absolutely, because a lot of those meals are so big. The meals, there's so much in there, and for just a couple, why wouldn't you share an appetizer?
Yeah, and no reservations required to go mosey up to the bar and order appetizers off the menu. So that's another nice thing. You don't have to plan it out.
Do they have a bar by Ohana's, Tim?
They do, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know about that bar.
I might.
I'm surprised you still know about Ohana's.
I might have to try that. That's very good.
Do you guys have any favorite dining spots you go to outside of the Disney property when you're there? Just out of curiosity. Any old standbys you always like to visit every time you go?
Actually, not off property. We haven't. We haven't
ventured yet off property. We should probably, but we haven't tried it yet. We have been told that there are a lot of nice places out beyond. But again, we're carless. Okay. We can rent, but we fly in and then we're on the Magical Express. when we get in, and we do rent for things like taking care of doctor's appointment or our annual checkups, etc. While we're back in Florida.
Okay, well, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with staying on property.
Oh no, we like that.
Right. But we like going to Chico and Narcoossee's. And actually, the last couple times we've been to the Wave, we've had some very interesting appetizers there. And Territory Lounge is nice, though the appetizers aren't as extensive, perhaps, as some of the other places. So many places that we can go to.
I'm telling you, the Wave is getting lots of good publicity recently.
It sure is.
I'm going to throw that on the list.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a great plan. It sounds like these are folks that are near and dear to my heart, Tim. They're very frugal.
They're frugal.
Who's driving an 83? Was it an 83 Toyota?
Yeah, we actually, when we came over here, we didn't think it passed inspection, so I gave it away to a student who was heading off to college.
We have an Echo now, a Toyota Echo.
Yeah, we're driving a 2003 right now.
Oh wow, there you go. Well, still, it's anything that's over 10 years old. I'm good with. I'm with you.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We thought you'd like that, Bob.
Yeah, Bob's famous for running his Toyotas into the ground as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your red Toyota, Bob, how many miles on that one?
The red one, it had 434,000 miles on it.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It got into a little bit of an accident, and that was the end of that. So nobody hurt or anything. It was just one of those things, yeah.
Yeah.
But 434. My 2003 Corolla has somewhere around 350,000. So they like to go. So,
they do.
Real quick, I got to ask you guys, because Theresa was kind enough to forward me an email that she had back and forth with the good folks over at Joffrey's Coffee. And you guys were able to order coffee through an APO address?
You're right. It's a military address is where we get our mail overseas. And we actually wrote them. I told them what I usually do for my weekend coffees, and I asked them for a recommendation. They wrote back within a day or so, suggested a couple of different coffees that they make that I could blend together to make a mix that I would probably like. And I was looking for something low acidity but very intense flavor at the same time. And they were very nice about it, so gave you guys a nice plug, used your discount code.
Nice.
And they were very happy to ship it overseas to us.
Outstanding. Well, there you go. So,
the Joffrey's people are some of the nicest people.
They absolutely are. Absolutely are.
We were very impressed. Yep.
You will absolutely love the coffee. I, Tim, am enjoying still my 30th anniversary blend. I'm milking that as long as I can.
I just opened up a new 30th anniversary.
Did you?
I did. I can't help it.
I'm trying to recycle, but it's not as good to recycle. So. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna. Oh, it's so good. Oh. Anyway, Tim, I think that's all I have for Theresa and David.
Oh, David, Theresa, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any place people can follow you, or do you have any social media you want people to be aware of?
Not yet. Probably in the future, but right now we're more followers than leaders. So
gotcha. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Oh my goodness. Everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been ResortLoop.com. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Facebook at Tim ResortLoop Scott. I'm even on Twitter at ResortLoopTim, and we have the website ResortLoop.com.
I'm ResortLoop Bob on the Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget Facebook.com/ResortLoop. Rate us on iTunes, please. And where else can they listen, Tim?
You can always find us on the Stitcher. Everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.
Some gifts are so magical. They create memories that last a lifetime, bringing joy to the young and the young at heart, and opening worlds of fun and shared discovery. How can you return to the magic year after year? Give the gift of Disney Vacation Club.